You're listening to the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Podcast, the podcast that keeps your practice sharp and your clients happy. I'm your host, immigration lawyer John Khosravi, and every week we're bringing you insights, tips, and real-world conversations with top immigration attorneys and industry leaders. Whether you're here to grow your practice, stay on top of the latest trends, or get inspired, you're in the right place. Ready? Let's go. Hello, fellow Toolboxers. Welcome to episode number 433 of the Immigration Lawyers Podcast, doing a top 10 tips and things that I learned last week that I want to share with you. And really, stuff I learned in the morning, a lot of them just get added Monday mornings because there's so much going on in the government on Mondays and news reports. So we're going to jump into things I think you should know as part of your immigration practice. So thanks, guys, for listening and checking out the magazine. We've had a lot of downloads of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine. Great articles by colleagues that published, and we're collecting and maybe get one or two more articles for the upcoming fall edition, issue number 11 of the Toolbox magazine. If you want to submit an article, just email me if you're a lawyer. Immigration topic, the more niche, the better. 2 or 3 pages. Email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com as soon as possible with a title or some sort of topic, and we can flesh it out from there to get you published and get some notoriety, even more about yourself, your firm, and help, most importantly, help fellow immigration practitioners get better at what they do. And also want to thank, in this regard, for helping sponsor the magazine and this podcast episode, is eImmigration. Shopping for immigration law software? Don't let shiny demos cloud your judgment. Before you choose a platform, ask the questions that really matter about security, support, and the fine print. eImmigration's free checklist, 25 questions to ask before choosing immigration law software, gives you the exact prompts to cut through sales spin and get real answers. Save yourself headache and buyer's remorse. Find it at offers.eimmigration.com/vendor-QA. Again, that's offers.eimmigration.com/vendor-QA, courtesy of eImmigration. We'll have a link in the show notes. So thank them for that support. And if you want to join our private community on circle.so, it's a different website that's intended to be a private community page. If you all know school or all these different groups, this is one called circle.so. We have almost 400 members now, going towards 500. And we have a lot of private content discussions that we have there. And growing the group, I think once we hit the number 1,000, it's going to go next level. And I think we get that pretty soon. The way things are going, in every episode I post, we get a couple of new people coming in, and it's getting there. So it's really appreciated for joining. I recommend doing so. All you got to do is be a U.S. immigration lawyer. I'm sorry, I keep saying U.S. immigration lawyer. You have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be an immigration lawyer, because a lot of people want to become immigration lawyers and learn it. Go to our website, immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Click on the community link, and it'll send you to a registration page where you give your bar info, so you just check to make sure you're actually a lawyer, and add you to the group. So you keep it in a private area right there for us to talk and not have to worry about giving disclaimers about immigration, not intended as individual legal guidance, blah, 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 which I'm going to say right now before starting the show. But all the information here is not provided as individual legal guidance. Please consult with the attorney about your case, which y'all know that already. Let's get this show started. Okay, so the first thing I got to mention, Friday night, October 31st, all of a sudden, the government sends out emails, or what they do is they sent out updates on your online webpage. We got a lot of them for cases that are approved and pending and didn't even file for advanced parole. There's been updates on the parole process. Please check your site. And so middle of the night, we're getting all these emails from clients saying what happened, if one by one reply. So it's just such a mess. So you might have had this thing too. But essentially, this new parole program, which if you do an adjustment of status, it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing re-parole, parole in place, or someone just coming in on other forms of humanitarian parole, they may have to pay this $1,000 fee. So that's annoying, but that was part of the big, beautiful bill, I think. But that came in, there was so many notifications on that, and it was like trying to relax, all of a sudden you get all these emails, but that's the way the government does it. So that was tip number 1. Tip number 2 is about the shutdown. We have some updates on employment-based cases, H-2B. Natalie Muallim, great poster on LinkedIn, posted a key update from page 11 of DOL's contingency plan saying foreign labor certification, OFLC, will process prevailing wage determinations and labor certification applications. The work of OFLC is required to support these exempt activities as DHS and state, which remain funded by employer fees. And also, I've heard that for H-2B, flag is up for doing that. I don't do H-2Bs myself, so it's not something I keep on top of. But you could post, and people are getting approved and moving the cases forward on that regard. Actually, the next thing is the update when it comes to biometrics. DHS that's 2 different things. I jammed back. So let me read this one first. If you're doing a FOIA request, DHS, they're now requiring the applicants for a physical address. That's kind of always, historically, it's not been a problem when you do FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act requests, to give the person's address, because they didn't do anything about it. But this administration is worried. And now for DHS FOIAs, they're asking for a physical address. And a colleague posted that their case got denied because they didn't post a physical address. And so because of that, they denied the FOIA request. So that was pretty annoying right there. Be prepared for it. You got to more and more pick and choose whether you want to do a FOIA request for a client or not because of this situation happening. Some lawyers would put their like firm address there. I was never a fan of that because it's like problematic, but we kind of make a educated decision if you want to do it or not. But FOIAs are, in one sense, FOIAs are really important, so you got to do them. But in the other sense, the government's redacted. We just got a FOIA request that was like 500 pages, and they redacted 426 of the pages. And it was like I-130, I-130A weren't in there. So I want to see what was said in there because we're doing a new case now. I want to see what happened. So this is just the insanity of it. Speaking of insanity, tip number 4 is the proposed regulation update when it comes to biometrics. So there's a lot of things they're doing in there. One is codifying requirements for biometrics for the petitioner, which it was somewhat due even now. People get it. But it seems like they may even finally push joint sponsors to get biometrics done, which is going to be a hassle because people are already... I was asking a lot for people to be a joint sponsor, but for them to do a biometrics too, it becomes a thing. In one sense, I can understand it because sometimes it's like, what if the client is like stealing someone's information and faking the affidavit of support? Because I'm not meeting with that joint sponsor, but it's like maybe this could help in that sense. I doubt that's actually been the case in my cases, but they're doing that, and it makes it even more of a hassle for someone to be a joint sponsor because they got to get up and drive somewhere. In LA, we have like 50 ASC appointment locations, so it's easier. But there are places where you got to drive 3 hours for a biometrics appointment. So that's like a nasty thing that has to happen. Expanded use of DNA testing that's going to happen. If you're rescheduling your biometrics, you get one free. After that, you need exceptional circumstances. And allow people getting these background checks. And they try to push it for people under 14 because that's it now. People, if you're 14 or a certain age or something, you wouldn't do it, but they're pushing that there. And they're adding voice and ocular imagery. So they want to, this is really going into science fiction kind of dystopia, but they're registering your voice and your ocular imagery, your eyes and that kind of stuff. And they're pushing DNA testing, which means they're going to be bigger headaches and delays for I-130 process to prove family relationship probably. So that's coming up. Tip number 5, this is like a PAC thing that I'm going to talk about right now. I've been complaining a lot about the U.S. Embassy Pakistan, their delays, particularly for one case of ours where the client had a child that's sick child. I mean, it's not a problem. They had doctor appointments, and we have all this stuff. I don't want to go too much of their personal life there. The embassy was not expediting the appointment. It was an easy open and shut case. And the facts of it were like the foreign parent already got it. There was like a snafu where the two cases were bifurcated with the parent. So parent already has a green card for a year waiting for an appointment. And we kept complaining. And first of all, a hat tip to the Congressional rep. I don't want to identify who it is because of the confidentiality stuff, but one thing is Congressional rep was helpful. So it really makes a difference if you're going to do a case request through Congressional, if the Congressional rep is helpful or if not helpful. If they don't care, they don't care. If they do, plus you got to keep pushing them too at the same time to remind them because they're probably everyone's calling for expedite requests nowadays. But keep pushing them, keep adding stuff, keep working with them to be able to tell the story to the MVC, to the embassy. So hat tip to them that they did that. But on the other end, once it finally did get approved, I was happy about that. So thank you, U.S. Pakistan, finally approving the situation. But who knows when the embassy interview is actually going to be. We just got to expedite, approve, whatever that means from there. The next thing is like we just got an email immediately from the U.S. Embassy of Pakistan saying, hey, about the idea that when the child comes to you as a green card holder, automatically becomes citizen, that whole topic. But this is the first time I'm seeing it. They're specifically mentioning that just coming on a short trip doesn't count. They have to reside with the U.S. citizen parent. And I'm happy they did that. They sent this email to notify the client of it because the petitioner of it, because I helped one client, one of our colleagues, Ryan Hall, very kind of, he referred me a case where a U.S. embassy took away a person's passport because they didn't reside with their parent after getting the green card. They went for like weekend and came back and lived overseas. And then they questioned about it at the passport renewal and they took it away. And then once I helped that person redo N600K or something like that to fix it, I can't remember which one it was, but we fixed that one up. Then my name got on a WhatsApp group and I'm like on a regular right now dealing with N600K or getting green cards domicile. And I constantly see this problem of people not knowing this and the embassies more and more taking away passports. It's a new thing. This is during Biden's time. This isn't even Trump thing. But I'm glad. That's why I'm really happy to see this email. So these people are become notified that, yeah, your child, you got to keep evidence that they're residing with you. It's such an important thing. So I wanted to share that with you. I was sharing thoughts of interesting things that have happened. I'll pause right here. If you're interested in these interesting kind of things, we do a lot of tips and postings as they come in our private community page on Circle.so. I strongly recommend joining if you're a lawyer, getting into immigration or practicing a long time, sharing the knowledge, learning the knowledge, and contributing to the community and the corpus of information knowledge that's out there. If you want to join, go to our website, immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. You click on the community page for the registration, and I'll see what your background and we'll get you in and get you up and running. Let's go back to the show. Number 6 is matter of CIGM and LVSG. As you all know, I'm not a removal guy or do asylum, but apparently this is like a big deal. And if you're one, I mentioned Taylor Levy. I think everyone who always says Levy, always that, but it's these safe third country bar applying to asylum, and apparently it's going to be a big deal in asylum cases and court cases are going to close. So be wary of that. This case they come up at Halloween. If DHS claims that an asylum cooperative agreement bars a respondent from applying for asylum in the U.S., the immigration judge should determine whether a safe third country bar applies prior to and separate from considering a respondent's eligibility for asylum. And so that's a big deal. Be aware of that. Matter of CIGM and LVSG. And Ref Taylor Levy, if you're on Facebook, follow her on the groups and stuff. She has like courses and free PDFs and Word docs to really study this stuff. Really a person to go to on that. Tip number 7, the H-1B website on USCIS is updated. In particular, adding an email address for if you're requesting a national interest exception, H-1B exceptions at hq.dhs.gov. We'll see how long that email is going to last. Putting an email on something where the majority of the people email are going to be Indian related means you're going to be inundated with emails and follow-ups and paranoia and worry. So I'm not sure how long that email address is going to last, but we'll see if they even respond. But that's the update on H-1B. Check it out. And also, people are getting RFEs now about you get paying fees. So if they're doing consular processing, there's I-129 RFEs come in. So prepare for that. Tip number 8, Trump administration shakes up ICE leadership across the country in a major overhaul. AP says they're replacing ICE executive chiefs, which is surprising, and putting in CBP officers. The current official was not authorized to speak publicly on the matter and spoke on condition of anonymity, said 12 ICE field office directors, the officers who run the network of field offices around the country responsible for immigration enforcement, were being reassigned. Half are to be replaced by existing or retired Customs and Border Protection staff, while others would be replaced by ICE officers, both the current and former officials said. So it's a very risky situation. We have these kind of shakeups, what kind of people, what kind of mentality is being reassigned. So that's part of the wildness of the immigration game. Tip number 9, Trump's ties student loan relief to immigration agenda. New rule: the Education Department will bar nonprofits it deems. So this easy lawsuit as aiding it. Okay, so the Education Department will bar nonprofits it deems as, quote, aiding and abetting violations of federal immigration laws, unquote, from the program. According to the new rule, the requirements take into effect July 26. This is student debt relief if you work for nonprofits for a long time. But how in the world are they going to deem politically what's aiding and abetting violations? Practicing law inevitably is going to be walking the line a lot. It's not that they're intending to aid and abet or do something illegal, but the laws are vague sometimes. So if you do it, you either get approved or you get denied. You file a lawsuit, a judge makes a decision on this stuff. So that's a nasty thing they're doing there. Imagine if you've been working nonprofits for 15 years, you're waiting for that date. All of a sudden, the last second, they change rules on you. Easy lawsuit right there. Tip number 10, there's a CEAC's website. If you're doing a partner state processing, which I do, always been a nightmare. And I just have a hard time even logging in nowadays. But apparently they fixed it. They're saying they fixed it. And someone's posting that it's fixed, is good now. See, to be said, let me know if that's the case. And then we have 2 more tips. I'll just say quickly. Number 11, I went to go check out someone's alien number on the EOIR website. And interestingly, they added a secondary question other than putting the alien number on the website. They asked for country of nationality. So that's a new thing I thought popped up. It's not a big enough tip to make a big deal, but I put it there. And number 12, I guess, the 2 bonus ones. This is really important, actually, to know. AILA Doc is 251-02-700. It says no expedited removal at pre-clearance stations. They talk with CBP at a liaison meeting, and they confirm that if you're doing a pre-clearance station, they can't do expedited removal, which is very critical if you have a case that's on the fence or there might be issues to send them to a pre-clearance station. They're becoming more harsh there. I've had a spat of people contact me in the last 7 days about the pre-clearance station in Abu Dhabi where they're sending it back for F1 students, but they shouldn't have all this kind of stuff. It's a mess. So there's risks that you go with it. Maybe Ireland's better, but just prepare for that. According to this AILA Doc number 251-02-700. I just learned about the CV meeting that was on October 17th. There's a link on it's an AILA library. I'll put the link in the show notes, but I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I'm sure there'll be some tidbits of good information there about this CBP liaison meeting that I recommend reading. Always be on top of this stuff is really important to become a better practitioner. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back in next Monday, Mondays for the top 10. And stay tuned. We have great interviews and other content I'm putting out. Definitely check out the interview I did with Ruby Rose, our monthly, where we go into business practices and all the events she with. I really enjoyed that one. Learned a lot there. And also check out the one I did with the finance person, Nick Pardini, about class and where do immigration lawyers fall within the class system that we have in the United States. I thought that one's pretty cool. I want to do more of that, but only if we get a lot of views extra for those to show, okay, it's getting more attention. Is something worth doing. But let me know if you have interesting people you think I should interview. I get a lot of like publishers saying, hey, my guy's a top mechanic, come have him on your show. I'm like, that has nothing to do with immigration. If you have something that makes a difference, let me know. We'll see what happens and take it from there. That's it, everybody. Until next one, have a good one. Bye-bye. If you like this episode, follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, where we post the latest statistics, tips, and more. And stay tuned for more from the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox podcast.